Hello and welcome to Skills to Pay the Bills. I'm your host, Tia Young. Our topic today is how to market your business. And our special guest is a 40-year veteran attorney who is a lifelong entrepreneur, assisting hundreds of small business owners in helping them to grow their business and assuring that business owners are legally protected. Our guest is the author of 5 books, including the sensational business book, Step by Step, Achieve Small Business Success. He is married with 2 daughters, whom are also attorneys. Our guest is also a new, very proud grandfather. Please welcome attorney Paul A. Samakow to Skills to Pay the Bills. Welcome.
Pleasure to
Attorney
be here.
Samakow.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, well, I've got a lot of questions for you, so we're going to jump right in.
I'll try
Is
and
that
answer
okay
them.
with you?
I'll do the best. Best
Okay.
I can.
Now, you started your first business in high school as a photographer. So how and why did you navigate from that field into the world of law?
I enjoyed photography and, I had a mind for business and I thought, hey, I can make some money doing this. But there's never been a time as far back as I can remember, even before high school, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Really?
So getting photography, during summers was great, and I made money and it was fun, when you go back to classes in September, I had more money than most of my friends, and that was nice.
Yeah.
And it certainly didn't hurt my parents that they didn't have to, shell out if I wanted a new pair of sneakers. But I've had a dream, I just can't even remember when I didn't want to be a lawyer.
Did
So-
you have a relative or anybody that
No.
inspired you? when
No,
you
I
were
mean,
younger?
you want the short story or the long story?
Short story.
As a little kid, my neighbor's house burned down. My parents invited them to live with us while it was being rebuilt. And one night, I heard the adults talking at the kitchen table about how the blah, blah, blah insurance company wasn't paying for the house. And it was just, I just thought that was so unfair.
Yeah.
And, then I started thinking, well, who could help these people? And I learned, attorneys could help these people. And that was it.
That was
It was
it.
like a light went off.
It's amazing.
And it just, and these were the people who were the salt of the earth, most wonderful people, our neighbors.
Well, most of the viewers watching this particular show, they're within their first 6 or 7 years in business. What kind of accountable tips could you give them, especially to those businesses who are like right on the edge right now and they're
Yeah.
thinking about just throwing in the towel and just giving up?
Business is the hardest thing in the world. It is, it's a slow dance. You read in the newspapers or see on social media, about how these overnight successes. And yeah, that does happen, but that isn't the average person in our society. Business is a dedication. It's staying up nights. It's believing in yourself, believing in your service, your product, recognizing that it's dead if it is, and just move on. But an entrepreneur is the strongest character person on the planet. And the tips are: believe in yourself, ask for help when you need it, find out who can help you, find others who have done it. Understanding relationships is critical. You cannot go out into the world and expect to be successful without relationships. Right. And the relationships are with employees. When you have them, that's the first group of people you have to take care of. Then you have your clients or your customers. You have to take care of them and go to the ends of the earth and back for them, and don't worry about losing money. If you do, you still do the right thing for your customer or your client. Right. And then the third thing I believe in is very strongly is that, community has an extraordinarily profound effect on the success. They might never have been your customer or your client, but word spreads. That's right. Word of mouth is 1,000,000 times better than any social media program or campaign or any TV ad. Yes, those things get you into the eyes and the ears and the minds of many, but the business comes from those who know you, like you, and trust you. Right. And that's the foundation of every successful business.
I'd like to go back to one of your actionable points. When you said ask for help when you need it, why is that so hard? That's hard.
I think it's
sometimes.
ego.
Oh,
I
really?
think it's ego. I like to I like to be in the car with my wife when I'm lost, because the first thing I do is I say, I got to find somebody who knows where they're going. And she says, you're not the regular man. The regular man would never ask for directions. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like, am I going to drive 30 more miles and get even more lost and waste more gas and more time? No, I'm pulling over and the guy walking down the street, hey, man, I'm looking for Route 97. Do you know where it is?
Right.
I mean, it's just ask for help. My goodness.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
That is. That's a real good tip. Now, you've authored 5 books, and the Sensational business book is the one I'm going to hold up now. This is Step by Step, Achieve Small Business Success. And I really liked the little byline you have below. This is a must-read book for every entrepreneur wanting success. So, I want you to talk a little bit about what's in this book and why should I buy it? And I have one more question.
Sure.
Why should I buy it? And give us like an overview of the other 5 books. I know we don't have time for you to go into each one of them, but if you can give us an overview.
Well,
that
I'll be
would
happy to.
perfect.
Thank you for your kind words about the book. It is a book of experience. I'm an attorney, and so I think I'm uniquely qualified to write this book, because the book is in 2 sections. There is the business of business, and there's the business of law. So as successful as you may be in doing all the things you need to do to bring in customers, clients, make sales, do the marketing, all that stuff, boy, trip up with the legalities, and your house of cards can fall. So I've written 2 things in there to give information. It's an informational book. Someone with that book in their hands is going to have a lot of good places to start, to plug in, to do a lot of things to grow the business and to make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. I talk about marketing. I talk about nurturing relationships. I talk about trust. I talk about skills to start a business or to take a business that is, in its infancy, or maybe even 4, 5, 10 years, who knows how long, but to help it get out of the rut. Many businesses are stuck, and in today's world, if you're in the same place you were last year and the year before and the year before, not only are you not making money, you're losing money. And then, go to the legal side of the book, pick a topic. I mean, in today's world, appropriately, gee, isn't it time? Things like discrimination are things that we need to be concerned about as employers. Racial, religious, gender discrimination. You need to keep your employees happy. The employees are your face to the world. So you don't want to do things that are blatantly wrong. How many lawsuits have I filed for employees who are not getting paid overtime? The employers say, well, you're working 43 hours, but I'm just going to pay you 43 hours regular time. No, 3 hours is time and a half. There's just so many things.
That's a crime? I mean, they can
yes, ma'am.
do something about that. That's what I
Yes,
meant.
ma'am. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not being
A lot of
overtime,
people
that's
don't know
against the
that.
law.
Yeah.
Workplace accommodations, contracts that you need to sign with vendors. The world can spin around, and there could be 50 of those books. There probably are 500 of those books talking about individual topics. So that is, I don't know, that's 150 pages, I don't know. But I've tried to give information in there that is relevant in a concise way, summarizing things and giving very specific things. So I'm proud of the book. Thank you.
It's good. It's 257.
257. Okay.
pages.
All right. Well, thank you.
Well, what would you say, because I run into a lot of people that really want to start a business, but they're afraid to do so. And when I tell them about books, they say, oh, yeah, those are just so advanced. They kind of jump in and they start you in the middle or wherever. And
Yeah.
Is there anything in the book that would encourage someone who is?
I think it's encouraging. Starting a business is scary.
It is.
It's scary. There's no question about it. If you have a day job and you're getting paid and you have health insurance and you got money being put away for retirement, hopefully you have that kind of a job, to leave that and go out on your own, it's like, help. But entrepreneurship is the backbone of the United States and its entire history. It's because of entrepreneurs we have the strength of economy that we have.
That's right.
So, someone who has the guts and the backbone and the timidity and the persistence. Those are the people who make wave for the next group of people coming behind them.
Right.
We stand on the shoulders of the greats. I mean, who are the iconic leaders of, multi-billion-dollar businesses? Well, they started out teeny-weeny.
Right.
And who knows where someone starting tomorrow is going to be 15 years from now.
That's right.
So encouraging, have money in the bank to pay the bills for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months, and if you don't, go to mom or go to father-in-law or
Right.
go to the
Uncle
bank and
James.
get a loan. I mean, but I love entrepreneurship. I think it's the most exciting and at the same time the scariest and the frustrating thing. I mean, you're a little kid, you don't know how to swim. Are you going to jump in the pool? You don't know how to swim. And somebody's standing there, come on, you can do it. And finally you go, okay, I'm going to jump in the pool. Hey, this is not so bad. And the people that experience that will never forget it. Riding your bike. Oh, I fell down, I bruised my knee. Oops. But that was fun. I'm going to do it again. This is what entrepreneurship is.
Yes.
It's exciting.
Well, attorney, I think you have a very cool website. I do.
Well, thank you.
I was on there the other night. I think it's really cool. Can you talk a little bit about that and also about a podcast? I think is that podcast new? Is that something
I'm starting
that you're starting?
I'm
Talk
starting in
about
a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
The website, I have 4 businesses, so with no disrespect, which website? Because I think they're
You
all
have
cool.
4 businesses?
I have 4 businesses, yes,
Can you
ma'am.
share them with us?
Well,
real quick?
I'll be happy
later.
to.
Okay.
All right. So I'm an attorney, and I have a practice of law.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a small business consultant, and I work with small businesses all over the country. And I'm a small business consultant for attorneys.
Oh.
So I have a unique program where I assist attorneys with marketing across the country in a very unique niche. I have a very large Hispanic population that knows me in this community and comes to me for legal matters, and I can teach that to other attorneys. And a 4th business is the podcast that's going to be starting in a couple of weeks, where it's a legal podcast. I'm calling it the Legal Merry-Go-Round, and the slogan is avoid the downs and savor the ups.
Yeah.
So I'm being very aggressive in coming out of the blocks with it, if you will. I've got 3 shows planned. Mondays is what I'm going to call Marital Mondays, where I'm talking about domestic relations, things like divorce, alimony, child support, all the things that are involved in that genre of law. Wednesdays I'm going to call Wrongdoer Wednesdays, where I'm talking about criminal matters and people that get in trouble with the law. And then on Fridays I'm going to be talking, I call it Fender Bender Fridays, about injury type situations. And the format of the show, give or take, is about 30 minutes, where in the first half I'm going to set it up with talking about real cases. Then I take a little break, and then I come back, and as a surprise, I always talk maybe for a minute and a half, 2 minutes on the second half of the show about a crazy case. The criminal who robbed the house, or burglarized the house, and fell asleep in the family room. So when the people came downstairs, they saw the stranger sleeping with all of their property that he was going to sleep in his he was going to steal his knapsack. So they called the police, and when the police get there, he's still sleeping. I mean, not a real bright guy. Funny stories.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, I'm going to describe the first 2 cases or 3 or 4 cases that I talked about in the first half, where I give the results of the case and then give a little advice to individuals who are listening and interested. You're a grandparent and your child divorced from his or her spouse, and now they won't let you see the kids. What do you do?
Right.
I mean, just examples of things and just practical advice that goes across all the states, where it's general, but it's not state-specific.
Right.
And that podcast, I hope, is going to be a resource for people, where on the website they can actually go and request a referral to an attorney in their state. So that will hopefully at some
that'll
point
help,
become a
yeah.
viable business for
Yeah.
me, where I can make referrals to other attorneys.
Right, that's
Yeah.
great. Now, you are a self-proclaimed marketing junkie, and you often speak and write about the psychology of persuasion. What is the psychology of persuasion, and how does this relate to the small business client that you would have?
I think at any given time I have 4 or 5 or 6 books on my nightstand, I just can't stop reading, and what I read is books about persuasion, books about marketing, books about people who've been successful in business. So the psychology of persuasion is nothing more than how to convince people. Persuade, convince. I'm an attorney, I'm a trial lawyer. I go in front of judges, I go in front of juries, and I want to convince them of my client's situation, to rule favorably, to award damages. I'm persuading. Okay, so I mean, if I were to say to you, that's a very, very beautiful necklace, that's going to resonate in your mind, but I have just persuaded you to wear it again.
That's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, contrary-wise, if I said, you know, Tia, you're an extraordinarily beautiful woman, and your outfit is sensational, but that necklace doesn't quite go with that, which would be a ridiculously horrible thing for me to say. I would never say something like that to someone like you.
Yeah.
But if I said that, I'm persuading you, and I'm going to bet the next time you put on that outfit, you're not wearing that necklace.
That's true.
And so that's just a silly little example,
Yeah,
but
that's
I gotta mention this guy. His name is Robert Cialdini. C-I-A-L.
Are you saying Houdini?
Robert, no, not Houdini.
Oh.
Cialdini, C-I-A-L-D-I-N-I. Robert Cialdini is a worldwide renowned phenom in the world of the psychology of persuasion, and he wrote 2 books. One is called Influence, and then he wrote another book called Persuasion. So if this is a topic that your listeners are interested in, they should go and get these books, because there are no books available in the world better than these 2 books. Right. They are sensational beyond. I read each one of them probably 3 or 4 times, and I keep learning every time I read these books. So, long answer to your short question.
No, that's a good answer. The few authors, I know a few authors, not many, but the few authors and attorneys and small business consultants that I know, even though they talk a lot, they seem to have the ability to listen, well. So are you a good listener? And if you are, how does that resonate with your clients?
I like to think I'm a good listener. I think listening is a skill that you have to practice. It's just very much like, you know, the muscle you want to build by lifting the weights. Listening is critical to understanding, and it's critical to helping. So, again, I don't in any way mean to be disrespectful to the men and women of the world, but men have the rap that all they want to do is solve the woman's problem. And so the woman will start to describe a problem, and the man cuts her off and gives her the answer. Where, again, and this is true of men too, men and women want to be heard. Yeah. They want to be heard. And oftentimes, when I didn't completely understand this, my wife would say things to me like, you know, I don't want you to solve the problem. I just want you to hear me. I just need to know that you need to acknowledge that you understand. And I think that's just so important in relationships, in a personal level, and more importantly, if you take professional and business as being more important than personal, which I don't think it is, but many do. I mean, you have these workaholics and they ignore their family. So if that's where they're doing it, listen in your professional life and try and bring it into your personal life. But, you know, I mean, when I have clients, I get why they're coming to me, but I want to hear their story. I want to know what is the reason they're coming to me, what happened to them, that now that I got the whole story, now that I got all the information, now I can try and be a better lawyer for them than if I didn't know what they just told me at the end of their discussion. Information is power. You know, what is the expression? You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So that means you should be listening twice as much as you should be talking. And I think I'm a good listener. I hope I am.
Yeah, I like that. That's a really good answer. You have built up a multi-million-dollar practice, got 7 offices around the region. I'm sure many of our listeners and business owners out there would want to get in touch with you. How can our viewers get in touch with you?
I have a phone number which is just ridiculously easy, 301-5 million. 301-5-million, 500-0000, 301-5-million. And obviously, it's not my phone number that, the phone company gave me, but I bought the number and I call forward that number to my cell phone. So if someone wants to call me up, I'm happy to talk to them.
Right.
You know?
We have a few minutes left. I want to do something sort of like a role playing. If I contacted you for some advice and help with my business, what can I expect from you with respect to engagement, service, and follow-up?
The first step is for me to listen to you. Who are you? What do you want? Why are you doing what you want to do? And I don't just get a why answer, why are you doing this? I don't just let you give me a one-line, two-line answer why you're doing it. I want to make money. No. That's not enough. I'm going to dig deep into your why. And then I want to find out, if you're, if you want to be the world's best weightlifter and you weigh 90 pounds and you have a horrible diet and you never exercise, I'm going to share with you, hey, that's not maybe such a great idea. I'm going to be honest with somebody and I'm going to find out who they are, what they're doing, how they're doing it, when they're doing it, why they're doing it. I'm going to ask all those questions. Then I'm going to sit down with you and I'm going to say, okay, well, here's a plan. And, I'm an advisor. I'm someone who, you can use and pick my brain. And I also want to be what I think in the world of coaching they call the accountability factor. So if I tell you I think you should do this and you should do it within 7 days, on the 6th day I'm going to call you up and say, how close are you to being done? And, again, for the ones that have been successful, I've already done it. Great. For the ones who, my dog ate the homework, if you're not serious about it, don't waste my time. But I've taken many, many hundreds and hundreds of individuals and helped them grow their business because I am a marketing junkie. I'm not a marketing guru or a marketing expert, but I understand marketing from several levels, and I can help them with creative, I can help them with messaging, I can help them with strategy, I can arrange for them for TV ads, radio ads, social media, and know they don't just do what in the world of TV they call run-of-station ads. You give the station X dollars and they assign you run a station. That means they're going to run your ads at 6 a.m. in the morning when nobody's seeing it except if they're getting dressed for work, and then they're going to run them at 11:30 at night after everybody's already turned the TV off. No, there are times to run ads, and there's ways to do it, and there's ways to save money. And so there's a whole amalgam of things that I have experience doing, been there, done that, and can teach it to others.
Right, that's good. We have just a few more minutes, but I want you to have the last word and give us more tips. Your tips
More
are great.
tips.
And say whatever, is in your heart to say, but I'm just saying the tips have been great. I've been squirreling away in my head.
Thank you. I come back to the concept of marketing. I believe you invited me here because I have done well for myself and I've done well for others as a business advisor or a consultant. And so in that narrow of the world, of my world, I like to just continue to try to help others. And, when I become a consultant, of course, there's a fee, but it's not about money when people call me for one or two things here and there. I give advice freely, and I've often had people tell. I do.
You do free advice, really?
I do free advice.
Okay.
And you know why? Because, if I pass something along that helps you, that's sensational. What I found is that when you really dig deep and give people a lot of advice, very few of them follow it. And so it's not hurting me, it's not competition, it's not, I do what I do in my world as an attorney, and I give other attorneys advice, and they go, oh, wow, that's great. I'm not worried about giving them my secrets, because they're not going to do what I did. And if they do, God bless them. This is a world of abundance. It's not a world of scarcity. There's plenty out there for everybody. But the core things that I think are critical to the success of people, personal or business, and maybe I'm, who am I to give this advice? I'm approaching 65, so I've seen some things, I've done some things. So I kind of feel like, yeah, I can give some advice, and if you don't like it, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. But in the world, moving through it appropriately and properly, doing nice things, helping people, but in the world of success, be it personal or business, relationships, listening, and understanding that people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So the example I use is, I don't think there's a person alive that has seen television that doesn't feel like they know Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
Nobody. Oprah Winfrey is so far ahead of everybody on the planet in terms of her genuineness and her soul. And we watched her for how many years on her show. We all feel like we know her. If she was standing over there, Oprah, you wouldn't say Miss Winfrey, she's Oprah.
Yeah.
And people know her, they think. They absolutely don't. They don't like her. They love her.
Yeah.
And do they trust her? Would I give her the keys to my house if I was on vacation? Done. And that's why people, adore her. And if she's got something, they're buying it. Oprah's book club, the O magazine. I'm a fan. My wife has the O magazine, so I didn't buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, you have been an outstanding guest.
Thank you.
For us today, and you're
Thank you.
welcome back anytime. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate
for
you
coming.
having me.
You're welcome. We thank Attorney Samakow for sharing such valuable information with us today. If you have questions or comments for Attorney Samakow, please give him a call. His information is scrolling on your television screen right now. Small business owners, listen up. If we are to be successful, it is critical that we learn how to market our business without spending tons of money on advertising and falling for every scam business tool that shows up in our mailboxes every day. We need the guidance of trustworthy and highly successful professionals who understand every element of managing a business. The right professional consultant will show you simple steps to help grow your business. Please join us next week for another great show on skills to pay the bills. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.